Alex lugged the last box into the living room and collapsed onto the dusty sofa. The house was old, with creaking floorboards and peeling wallpaper, but the rent was cheap, almost too cheap, and it was all Alex could afford. As they surveyed their new home, their gaze fell on an antique rotary phone perched on a small table in the corner. Its black casing was chipped, the dial scratched and faded, as if it belonged in a museum rather than a modern home. Alex assumed it was disconnected. Who even used landlines anymore? That night, as Alex drifted toward sleep, a shrill ringing sliced through the silence. Groggy, they fumbled for their mobile phone on the nightstand. Nothing. The sound wasn't coming from there. It was echoing from downstairs. Reluctantly, Alex slipped out of bed and followed the noise to the living room. The antique phone trembled with each ring, its tone insistent and unnatural in the stillness. Hesitant, they lifted the receiver. "Hello?" Alex's voice wavered slightly. A faint crackling filled the line, followed by a whispery voice, barely audible. "Is anyone there?" "Yes, who is this?" Alex asked, gripping the phone tighter. "Please, help me," the voice rasped, then the line went dead. Alex shook their head, hanging up the receiver with a clatter. A glitch, maybe, or a prank call from some bored teenager. They trudged back to bed, dismissing the unease creeping up their spine. But the next night, at exactly midnight, the phone rang again. This time, the voice was clearer, tinged with desperation. "Help me." Alex's heart skipped. "Who are you? What do you want?" "I'm trapped, in the basement," the voice replied, then silence swallowed the call. Alex stared at the phone, a cold shiver prickling their skin. There was a basement in the house, a door off the kitchen they hadn't bothered to explore yet. It was probably nothing, they told themselves, just their imagination running wild in this creaky old place, but the voice had sounded so real, so pleading. The next morning, armed with a flashlight, Alex descended the rickety basement stairs. The air was thick with mold and decay, the beam of light cutting through a haze of dust. Cobwebs brushed against their face as they waded through a graveyard of forgotten furniture. Chairs with broken legs, a cracked mirror, stacks of mildewed boxes. Nothing seemed out of place. No one was trapped. Feeling faintly ridiculous, Alex climbed back upstairs, chalking it up to sleepless nerves. That night, the phone rang again. Alex's stomach twisted as they answered. "You're getting closer," the voice whispered, its tone hollow yet urgent. "Look behind the wardrobe." Now thoroughly unnerved, Alex returned to the basement, their flashlight trembling in their grip. A massive wardrobe loomed against one wall, its dark wood scarred and imposing. With effort, they shoved it aside, revealing a hidden door, small, warped, and caked with grime. Heart-pounding, Alex turned the rusty knob and pushed it open. The flashlight beam landed on a tiny room, barely larger than a closet. In the corner, a skeleton slumped against the wall, its wrists bound by rusted chains. Alex gasped, the flashlight slipping from their hand and clattering to the floor, plunging the space into shadow. Upstairs, the phone rang again. Legs shaking, Alex bolted back to the living room and snatched up the receiver. "Thank you for finding me," the voice said, now sharp and clear, almost relieved. "But you must leave now. It's coming." "What's coming?" Alex choked out, panic clawing at their throat. "The thing that killed me, it's still here. Run!" A deafening bang erupted from the living room, rattling the walls. Alex sprinted to the front door, twisting the knob frantically. It wouldn't budge. The back door was the same, sealed shut as if welded. The air turned frigid, their breath clouding in front of them. In the center of the room, a dark, shapeless mass began to coalesce, inky black, pulsing with a malevolent energy. Alex could feel its hunger, a suffocating weight pressing against their chest. Desperate, they remembered the hidden room. Maybe there was a way out. They raced back to the basement, slamming the door behind them and twisting the lock. Beside the skeleton, a small wooden box sat half buried in dust. Alex tore it open, revealing a tattered journal. Flipping through the brittle pages, they pieced together fragments of a chilling tale. The house was built on a cursed burial ground, home to an entity that fed on souls. The skeleton belonged to a tenant who'd tried to stop it and failed. The final entry, scrawled in a frantic hand, read, "The heart of the house must be destroyed. It's in the basement, disguised as a stone." Alex's eyes darted around the room, landing on a peculiar object in the corner. A rough-hewn stone, faintly pulsing with a sickly glow. Without hesitation, they grabbed a hammer from a nearby toolbox and brought it down with all their strength. The stone shattered, and the house convulsed, floorboards buckling, walls groaning. A piercing scream tore through the air as the dark mass burst through the basement door, tendrils of shadow reaching for Alex. But as it grazed their arm, it disintegrated into wisps of smoke, vanishing into nothing. The shaking stopped, the air lightened, the oppressive dread lifting like a veil. Alex exhaled, shaky but alive. Cautiously, they climbed the stairs. The front door swung open at their touch, welcoming the cool night breeze. Stepping outside, they heard a faint whisper on the wind. "Thank you." Alex managed a weak smile, relief washing over them. They'd freed the trapped soul and banished the evil. Turning their back on the house, they walked away, vowing never to return.